Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the chapter 15, that is e-commerce. These are the discussion points which we are going to discuss in this video. So first about the concept of e-commerce. Next the brief history of e-commerce and the different types of e-commerce business models and the revenue models. Next one is a difference between the e-commerce and the traditional commerce, and the last part is the advantages and disadvantages of the e-commerce. First, we will start with the introduction. So there is a phrase called as the wise possess all. So it means that anyone who is quick to identify and adopts the innovation would be successful. So that is the meaning. So commerce always profits from innovations. So successful businesses quickly identified the developing opportunities in emerging new technology and expand their commercial capabilities, the commercial activities with the help of the technology. So the customer goes to the market, checking out a variety of products, choosing required stuff and purchasing them, and then paying the specific amount is a traditional commerce. So however, recent ways of buying or selling goods and services have come with the technology innovations. So in the near future, commercial activities such as buying or selling of goods between the merchant and consumer will be bygone and forgotten, like a barter system. So because of the technology, these traditional way will get bygone and forgotten. So like the most other things, the internet and technology have changed the way that the commerce is conducted. So in earlier, that is in the year 1996, the IBM coined the term, the IBM company developed the term e-business. So just as business is broader than commerce. So e-commerce is a subset of e-business. So e-commerce is a commercial transaction through internet. So but e-business entirely depends on the internet for its every intra-company and intercompany activities. For every activity is related to the business, it fully depends on the internet, such as procurement of the raw material, marketing, finance, manufacturing, selling and negotiation. All these activities are done based on the internet. It fully depends on the internet. So while e-commerce is limited with monetary transaction, so using the internet, e-business is grounded on technology such as network infrastructure like internet, intranet, extranet. So all these are the network infrastructure, and multimedia contents and network publishing infrastructures like HTML, online marketing. So like messaging and information distribution infrastructures like EDI, so electronic document interchange, and sending the emails, HTTP protocols, and inventory management system. All these things are computerized, and other common business services infrastructure like electronic payment gateway and globalized supply chain management, we call it as SCM, online transaction processing. So all these commercial related activities and network related activities came into the existence with the help of the internet. So a company can be called as a e-business if and only if it has the ability to conduct business electronically over internet. So it manages payment transaction through internet. So and the last one is it has a platform for selling products and services through internet. So these are the three main qualification for a company that can be called as a e-business. So and the definition for the e-commerce is currently one of the most important aspects of the internet era, and just like the words email, ebook with the prefix e, the e stands for electronic. So commerce and internet makes the e-commerce. So it also allows the consumers to exchange goods and services with no barriers of time or distance. There is no restrictions on the time and distance. Electronic commerce has expanded rapidly, fastly over the past few years and is predicted to accelerate. So it shows its full acceleration growth with the help of the internet. So it could be a consumer based retail sites or auction sites or trade between large business organization, whatever may be. So it is done only with the help of the internet. The commodity could be a, the commodity means here the goods, the commodity could be a laptop or a wristwatch, or it could be an operating system or a simple browser plugin. So all, whatever may be, it is a physical product or a hardware or a software, whatever may be, it can be sold or bought with the help of the e-commerce. The goods and information or services are delivered in tangible or electronic form. So this is the main purpose of the e-commerce with the help of the internet. So the goods may be, example, mobile phones, digital cameras, clothes, accessories, even the software, antivirus softwares, whatever may be the software. So all these comes under the goods. And next one is the information. So information, the subscription to some newspapers or scientific journals, television channels. So all these subscriptions are comes under the information. And services. So for example, the placement services. So it is a consultant services. And the next one is a tangible form, means the example for tangible is a digital camera purchased by a consumer from an online shopping website, which might be delivered at the requested address. So that is the tangible form. So electronic form means a music album or a software. So it is downloaded from a site which might be delivered in the electronic form. So these are the difference between the tangible form and the electronic form. The next one is the evolution of electronic commerce. So e-commerce is not a completely new type of commerce. The growth of the e-commerce started a few years ago and continues to grow exponentially. So it first started on a private network in 1970s. The electronic data interchanges. So starting from the electronic data interchanges and tele-shopping together paved the way, started the way for the e-commerce. So the history of modern e-commerce is closely twisted together with the history of the internet. So e-commerce became really possible when the internet was open to commercial use. So when the internet became commercially used for the users, so the e-commerce became possible. So online shopping started to grow when National Science Foundation, the company, opened the internet to the public. So in the year 1991. So since then, the businesses have started to take up residence at websites. So with the progress of this internet technology and vastly developed global internet community, large number of dot coms, fintech and internet startups have appeared, and a strong foundation of electronic commerce continues to get built. So this is the history of the evolution of electronic commerce. And the internet had provided new commercial potential not only for large organization but also provided a sustainable entry point for even for SMEs, that is the small and medium sized enterprises of e-commerce. So today e-commerce is no longer an exclusive domain of large organizations or private networks. Even though e-commerce has been existing since few years, it has recently sustained significant growth, a vast growth. It is because the internet has transformed from an auxiliary communication medium of academics and the large organization to an entrenched communication medium that extends nearly all parts of the mainstream society. So it reaches all the parts of the society. So integrated with the commercialization of the internet, personal computers and the electronic payment systems together made the e-commerce flourish, made the e-commerce for a success. And the growth of the e-commerce is also related to the socio-technological changes, both in the social changes and society changes and in the technology changes. The growth of the e-commerce is more related. The more the medium becomes deep rooted and the more are the users drawn towards it, increase of users, increases the markets. As the markets expand, more business organizations are attracted. So the more business accumulate, it create competition. So the competition leads to innovation. So innovation in turn drives the development of technology. The technology facilitates the e-commerce growth. So this is the chain of how the e-commerce get more developed. So here you can able to see the year wise development in the image starting from 1960s and till 2018. So starting from 1960s, they have started the electronic data interchange as said, and allows the companies to carry out the electronic transaction and the online shopping. And later they have invented the TV set to a computer with a phone line and created teleshopping. And this is how the growth of the e-commerce occurred. The next one is the development and the growth of electronic commerce, that is e-commerce. So even though the economist describes the four common phases, the four distinct waves that occurred in the industrial revolution. So in each wave, the different business strategies made successful. So the e-commerce and the industrial revolution, the information revolution brought about by the internet likely go through such series of waves. So let us see the first wave of the electronic commerce, the first wave of e-commerce, that is in the year 1995 to 2003. So the dot-com companies of the first wave are mostly the American companies. So thereby their websites are only in English. So the dot-com bubble had attracted huge investment to the first wave companies. So as the internet was very close to the read-only web, that is a web 1.0, and the network technology was in its beginning stage, and the bandwidth and the network security was very low in this first wave of e-commerce. Only some electronic document interchange and the unstructured email so remained as a mode of information exchange between the business, between the companies. But the first wave companies enjoyed the more advantage because they made the customers with no options. The customers left with no options. That is the major advantage that the first wave companies enjoyed. And the next one is the second wave of e-commerce, that is from the year 2004 to 2009. So the second wave is a rebirth of the e-commerce after the dot-com burst. So after some disadvantages and the dropout, so it again got rebirth in the year 2004. So the second wave is considered as a global wave with the sellers doing business in many countries and in many languages. Whereas in the first wave, they do only business in English language. And language translation and currency conversion were focused in the second wave websites. The second wave companies used their own internal funds and gradually expanded their e-commerce opportunities. So as a result of this, the e-commerce grows more steadily through and also slowly. The rapid development of the network technology and the interactive web, that is the web 2.0, that is a period of social media, offered the consumers more choices of buying and more choices of selling also. The increased web users makes the e-commerce company mostly the B2C company, business to consumer company, during the second wave of e-commerce. And the next one is the last one is the third wave of electronic commerce, that is from 2010 to the present situation. So the third wave is brought on by the mobile technologies. It connects the users through the mobile devices for real time and on demand transactions. So mobile technologies, it connects the users through the mobile devices for real time and on demand transactions. Not only the information is filtered by time, but also the geographic coordinates are used to screen the specific location tailored information properly. So that is the main advantage that in the third wave of electronic commerce. So the term Web 3.0 that summarizes the various characteristics of the future internet, which includes artificial intelligence, semantic web, and generic databases, etc. So these are the three waves, the wave of electronic commerce, the three phases of electronic commerce, the development and the growth of the electronic commerce. And next we are going to see about the classification of the e-commerce business models. So business organization, consumers and government, also called as administrations, so are the major parties, the major participants we can say as in the e-commerce business models. So sometimes employees, the informal workers are also join in this system. So based on the entities involved in the transaction, so e-commerce has been classified into the following given categories. You can able to see the image. So starting the three common entities are the business, consumer and the government. So based on that, by combining these matrices, so we can form the business models like business to business, business to consumer, business to government. That is the first row. And the second row, consumer to business, consumer to consumer, and consumer to government. In the third row, government to business, government to consumer, and government to government. So these are the 9 business models. So classification of e-commerce business model available. So first is the business to business, that is the B2B. So you can able to see the image. So in B2B e-commerce, the commercial transaction takes place between different organization, business organization. So that is the image represents though through the internet. So you can able to see from one business organization through the internet, it transacts to the other business organization. So for example, a cycle company may buy tires from another company for their cycles. So when compared to other models, so the value per transaction, in B2B is high, and because of the bulk purchases. So the company also might get the advantage of discounts on bulk purchases. So here the concept of outsourcing and offshoring is associated with this B2B e-commerce. So the concept of outsourcing and offshoring. So if a company's work is hired to another company, it would be termed as a outsourcing. It gives the company's work. It gives the company's work to another company to do that. So that concept is called as a outsourcing. So if the work is outsourced to a company which is outside of its own country, that we term it as a offshoring, because the company is outside the own country. So that is the difference between the outsourcing and the offshoring. And next one is a business to consumer or business to customer. So that is the B2C. So B2C e-commerce, commercial transaction takes place between the business firms, that is the companies, and the consumers. So it is a direct trade between the companies and the end users, the end consumers, with the help of the internet. So B2C company sells the goods, information or services to the consumers or the customers through online in a more personalized dynamic environment, and it is considered as a real competitor for a traditional storekeeper. So the more usage of the internet will leads to the less business for the traditional storekeeper. And an example for the B2C is a book company selling books to the consumers. So this mode is intended to benefit the consumer or the customer. Can say B2C e-commerce works as a retail store over internet. And the next model is business to government. So if a business in a B2G business model, that refers to a business organization sells products or services or the information to the government or to its administration. So in other words, when a company get paid for its good service by the government through the internet, we call it as a B2G model. So B2G network model provide way for businesses to bid on a government projects, so or products through those governments might need for their organization. So example, a government or its administration buys laptop for students from a business, so that we call it as a B2G. And next one is a consumer to business, that is a C2B. So C2B can be described as a form of e-commerce where the transaction starts from the consumer. So the consumer will fix a set of requirements or a specific price for a service or a commodity. So C2B model can also be called as a reverse auction model. Here, the customer bid his price for a service or a product. So then the e-commerce business entity will match the requirement of that consumer to the best possible extent. So this is how the C2B works. So for example, so in a travel website, so a consumer may specify his dates of travel, his source and destination, number of tickets required, and range of hotel, etc. All these details he will book in a travel website, say for example yatra.com. So the website then finds out the various options for the user, so which best meets his requirement. So these websites generate revenue through the affiliate links, the connection links, sponsored advertisements. So from all these things, the websites get revenue. And for each and every booking, so like this websites gets revenue. Say for example, the name your price website. So like all these comes under the C2B model. And next, the business model is consumer to consumer. So here the C2C in e-commerce provides opportunity for trading of products or services among the consumers who are connected through the internet. So in short, when something is bought and sold between two consumers using internet, we call it as a C2C e-commerce. Here the websites act as a platform to make the transaction successful. The electronic tools and the internet infrastructure are employed to support these transactions between the consumers. So typically this type of e-commerce works as a consumer to business to consumer. So we can call it as a C2C as a C2B to C. The consumer creates the business. From the business, another consumer gets advantage. So like this we can say, it means that a consumer would contact a business in search for a suitable customer. Most of the auction websites and other consultancy websites are working on this methodology. So for example, a consumer who wants to sell his property can post an advertisement on the website, like say for example timeclassifieds.com. Another person who is interested in buying the property can browse the property, can search for the property, advertisement posted on that website. So thus two consumers can get in touch with each other for a sale purchase of a property through another business website. So this is how the C2C model works. And next one is a consumer to government. So the citizens as a consumers and the government engage in this C2G e-commerce model. So here an individual consumer interacts with the government. So C2G model usually includes income tax or house tax payments, fees for issuance of certificates or other documents like that. So people paying for renewal of license through online may also fall under this category. And the next model is the government to business, G2B. So G2B is more closely related to the B2G, the business to government. So in G2B e-commerce, it is refers to a business model where the government providing services or information to a business organization. So it may be a formal offer letter. So formal offer such as a takeover bid for a road construction project. So like that, all these information will come under this the G2B e-commerce model. And G2B is a part of e-governance. So the government provides the information about the business rules, requirement and permission needed for starting a new business and other specification in its portal. So all these information data will come under this G2B, government to business. The objective of the G2B model is to reduce the burdens on the business, providing the one-stop access to all the information, business related information in the government websites to boost their economy. So say for example, the websites ebiz.gov.in. So it provides all the electronic documents related to the business. So all these documents are uploaded in the particular website, government website. From there, the business can easily access all the documents that are related to the business. So next one is a government to consumer, G2C. So G2C in e-commerce is very similar to the C2G. Here the government provides platform for the citizen to avail the service and information through the internet. So the services may be a issuance of certificates through online. So like each and every state government will have its own particular website to provide the information or the data related to the citizens. So all the documents or the certificates can be downloaded in the particular state government websites. And next one is a government to government. So that is G2G. So G2G is the online, usually non-commercial interaction between the government organization or its administrations. So G2G principal objective is to implement the e-governance rather the commerce. So it never deals with the commercial activities. So all the non-commercial interactions, activities between the governments will be done in this G2G model. So G2G model in e-governance involves distributing the data or information between its agencies or departments like that. So G2G systems can be classified into two types. So internal facing or local level and the external facing or international level. So internal level means joining up a single government's bureaucracy like NIC, www.nic.com. Within the government, they form a group, internal group, local level group. So they share the data among them. So external facing means joining multiple governments bureaucracy. So that is the difference between the internal level and the external level. So this is all about the business models, e-commerce business models. Next, we are going to see the e-commerce revenue models. So you don't get confused with the business model and the revenue models. So in revenue models, you'll be seeing various types of websites that are available in related to the e-commerce. So which creates revenue. So whereas in business model, you'll be seeing the basic three entities, how they are related. So the business, consumer and the government. So all these things you will be seeing the business models, whereas here you will be just seeing the various types of websites which creates revenue. So this is the difference between the business model and the revenue model. So apart from the regular selling of commodities, the goods, there are many other ways by which the companies can make money from the internet. So the other form of the e-commerce activities, like these are the various websites starting from the affiliate site. So affiliate site is a form of third party marketing in which the site owner get paid based on the performance of the website. So the affiliate site may be a price comparison service, so or a shopping directories or a review sites, or even it may be a blogs that can contain a link to a normal retailing site and are paid when a customer or a consumer makes a purchase through that particular link. The affiliate site usually attracts the visitors by offering more information and the guidance on a specific product or a specific topic. So that is the main ultimate aim of the affiliate site, to attract the visitors, the users. And next one is the auction site. So auction is a kind of website that auction items on the internet and levies some commission from the particular sale, say for example the ebay.com. And next one is a banner advertisement site. So in this site, it displays all the advertisements of other companies in the particular website, and thereby it earns the revenue whenever the customer clicks or purchases through that link, which is similar to the affiliate site. And next one is a bulk buying sites. So it collects a number of users together, all of them who want to buy a similar items. So the site negotiates a particular discount with the supplier and takes the commission. Say for example the alibaba.com. Likewise, it is a bulk buying sites. And next one is a digital publishing sites. So digital publishing sites effectively host the e-books or e-magazines on the internet on the particular website. They make profits in a number of ways, such as advertising or selling the books. Likewise, say for example the wordpress.org. So it is an example for the digital publishing sites. And next one is a licensing sites. So it allows the other websites to make use of their software. For example, the search engines, which allows a visitor of the particular website to search within the website more easily. So that is the licensing sites. And next one is the online shopping mall sites. So it allows the multi e-commerce traders to assemble together in a single website. So often these sellers would be related to each other. For example, they may be all sell luxury goods, so this site would take a percentage of that particular profit in a sale. So these are the various revenue models, e-commerce revenue models available. Next, we are going to see the comparison between the traditional commerce and the e-commerce. So e-commerce is not just commerce anymore, even though they share the primary principle of buying and selling goods and services. So there is a difference, some difference between the traditional commerce and the e-commerce. So let us see what are all the differences between the traditional commerce and the e-commerce. First thing is, traditional commerce is buying or selling of products and services physically, whereas in e-commerce carries out commercial transaction electronically on the internet. And next, second point is, customer can easily identify, authenticate, or that means verify, and talk to the merchants. Whereas here in the e-commerce, neither the customer nor the merchant see each other. And next one is the physical stores are not feasible to be open all the time. So it has some particular time for the physical stores to be opened. So here in e-commerce, it is always available on all the time and all the days of the year, that is 24/7. So for all the 365 days, the e-commerce facility is available. And next one is, products can be inspected physically before the purchase. So we can touch and feel the product quality in the traditional commerce. Whereas in e-commerce, products can't be inspected physically before the purchase. So only after you receive the product, you can able to physically inspect the product. And next one is the scope of business is limited to a particular area. So in a traditional commerce, in a specific store, the scope of business is very limited in a specific sector. Whereas here in e-commerce, the scope of business is global and vendors can expand their business worldwide. And next one is, in traditional commerce, the resources focus on supply side, whereas in e-commerce the resource focus on the demand side. And the next one is, business relationship is linear in traditional commerce, whereas here in e-commerce it is end-to-end business relationship starting from the customer, and it reaches to all the various levels of sectors and it reaches to the other end. So likewise, it is an end-to-end business relationship. And next one is in the traditional commerce, marketing is one-way marketing. Here in e-commerce, it is one-to-one marketing. The direct marketing is done in the e-commerce. And in traditional commerce, payment is made by cash, check and cards. Whereas here in e-commerce, the payment system is mostly credit card and even through various types of fund transfer. And the last difference is the comparison is the traditional commerce, most of the goods are delivered instantly. Whereas in e-commerce, it takes some time to transport the goods. So these are all the comparison between the traditional commerce and the e-commerce. And the last topic which we are going to discuss in this chapter is advantages of e-commerce and disadvantages of e-commerce. So first we will see the advantages of e-commerce. So first point is e-commerce system is operated on all days and all the day. So it is able to conduct the business the 24/7. So neither the consumer nor the supplier need any physical store to be opened to do the business electronically. So people can interact with the businesses at the time of their convenience. Next one is the speed. Speed is a major advantage in e-commerce. So advanced electronic communication system allow the messages to reach across the world instantaneously. So there is no need to wait any days for a catalog to arrive by post. So communication delay is not a part of the internet or e-commerce world. The internet is too easy to shop around the products and services that may be more cheaper and effective. So that is the main advantage of the e-commerce. The internet is too easy to shop around the products and services that are more cheaper and effective than left to buy only in the brick and mortar shop. So that is the brick and mortar shop means it is a physical shop. So rather buying in the physical shop, the products and services through internet is more cheaper and effective. So that is the meaning of that. So it provides an opportunity to buy at a reduced cost. So it is also possible to explore the internet or identify the original manufacturer, thereby bypassing the wholesalers and achieve a cheaper price. So that is the advantage of the e-commerce with the help of the internet. And next one is the whole world becomes a shop for today's customer. So they can have a wide choice by comparing the same product or evaluating the same product at different websites. So before making the purchase decision. And the last advantage of the e-commerce is the customers can shop from home or anywhere at their convenience. They don't need a long way to talk to a salesman. They can read the details regarding model numbers, prices, features, etc. in the online itself of the product from the website and buy at their own convenience. Payments can also be made through online. So these are all the advantages of the e-commerce. So next is the disadvantage of the e-commerce. So e-commerce is often used to buy goods that are not available locally, but from businesses all around the world. So if it is not available locally means it may take some time to receive. So physical goods need to be transported, which takes time and cost more. So in traditional commerce, when we walk out of a shop with an item, it is ours. So we have it, we know what it is and where it is and how it looks. But in e-commerce, we should wait between the placing the order and having the product in hand. Some e-commerce companies handle this by engaging their customer, updating status of their shipments. So next one is unlike returning goods to a traditional shop, returning goods through online is believed to be an area of difficulty. So it is more difficult in the trustworthiness while returning the goods. So there will be a more doubt about the period of returning. Will the return goods reach source in time? Refunds, exchange and postage makes on all these things are very doubtful in this e-commerce. Next one is the privacy issues. So privacy issues are more serious in e-commerce, because in e-commerce generating consumer information is inevitable. So not all the companies use the personal information they obtain to improve services to consumers. Many companies misuse the information and make money out of it. So it is true that privacy concerns are a critical reason why people get cold feet about the online shopping. So many people found very risky with respect to the online shopping. That is, they have mentioned as a cold feet through online shopping. And next one is the physical product disputes. So physical product disputes are a major disadvantage in e-commerce. So because e-commerce purchases are often made on trust. So this is because we do not have any physical access to the product. Though the internet is an effective channel for visual and auditory information, it does not allow full scope for our senses. So we can see the picture of the perfumes but could not smell their fragrance. So that is the main disadvantage in the internet and in the e-commerce. So we can see the pictures of a cloth but not its quality. So if we want to inspect something, we choose what we look at and how we look at it. But in online shopping, we would see only the pictures the seller had chosen for us. People are often much more comfortable in buying the generic goods that they have been seen and or experienced before, and in which there is some little ambiguity, some clarity, rather than unique or complex things through the internet. They won't buy all the things through the internet. They only buy some of the goods, some of the generic goods that they trust. So that is the major disadvantage in the e-commerce, the product physical product disputes. And the last one is the delivery ambiguity. So delivery ambiguity, since supplying businesses can be conducted across the world, it can be uncertain whether they are indeed genuine business or just going to take our money. So it is pretty hard to knock on their door to complain or to seek any legal recourse. Like that, all these payment related issues are there. So further, even if the item is sent, it is easy to start bothering whether not to not it will arrive on time. So delivery ambiguity and the payment clarity is very less in the e-commerce. So that is the main disadvantage in the e-commerce. So these are all the advantages and disadvantages of the e-commerce. So with this, the chapter 15 gets completed. So in the next video, we will start with the next chapter. Thank you, students.